So why is it that as the COVID pandemic gets weaker, COVID becomes weaker? Yeah, it's very catchy, but it's becoming weaker. Why is it that the most tyrannical vaccine mandates are being imposed upon people in more and more countries? Why is that? Well, COVID is getting weaker. Why is transgenderism, transhumanism, critical race theory being imposed on children in school systems? Things like that are all part of what's called a great reset. These are some of the most powerful and richest people in the world, and organizations like the World Economic Forum, who have decided, and they've been working on this for a long time, they decided they're going to reset reality, reset civilization, reset the economy to a whole different globalist view. And it's not going to include God's design for reality. It's not going to include the church. In fact, some of this ideology has actually bled into the church like a poison. The Great Reset is precisely what we've been entering into, the mystery we've been entering into. The real Great Reset has already happened in the incarnation, the birth of Jesus Christ, Christmas, and his baptism, theophany in the River Jordan. This is the Great Reset, that God has reset reality according to his design, according to his blueprint, which is for our good and for our salvation. It's a sacramental, liturgical, Eucharistic, mystical worldview where we see God and God's ways, God's wisdom, God's design in every aspect of the created order, including our very human bodies and all of nature. And when we see that, we then respond to it. We live according to that vision, no matter what it is, how we approach education, the economy, marriage, life, family, church. Everything is to be approached with the vision of the Great Reset, the great mystery that we've just celebrated and entered into through Christmas and Theophany and Epiphany. But that freedom to live according to God's design does not come cheap. God himself paid a price for our freedom to live in the Spirit. And so, especially now as this year progresses, we have to embrace what we just entered into, these feast days. Embrace this sacramental, incarnational worldview in everything that we do, but also to defend that worldview, to do as Jesus did, to defend the freedom, to live in the freedom of the Spirit. The Great Reset, the real Great Reset, is the way. It's the blueprint for all of life, here and in eternity. But it does not come cheap. It must be embraced, lived, and defended.